So hi, this is Tom Stone. I'd like to welcome you to this demonstration of using the pure awareness techniques to help minimize making mistakes so that you can be more successful. We call this theme Success 101. And our volunteer for this session is Sunil Varma, who's currently living in the UK, in England. And thank you so much for joining us, Sunil. Yeah, so if you could just introduce yourself a little bit and just tell us briefly about what's kind of holding you back, or what your feeling of what
Hi,
you'd
my
like
name's
to accomplish
Sunil,
from this session
and
would be.
I just moved to the UK. I used to live in the USA for 20 years, and I've come back to the UK and have done many things to move forward. But there is one block that is bothering me, and that block is about being my fullest expression and not letting that hold me back anymore. So this is what brought me to Tom, to seek his wisdom and his guidance to help me move forward and be more free in my life of myself.
Terrific. Very good. So I certainly have a sense of it. And the if you happen to be watching this recording of this particular demonstration, Sunil has already watched this little 12-minute orientation video that we have online. If you haven't watched that yet, I would encourage you to put this video on pause or stop it and go watch that 12-minute video, because it's a very good orientation to the techniques we're going to use and the procedures we're going to use, and then come back and watch this one. So that way I don't have to give a lot of detail. It'll save us quite a bit of time. Okay, so you know, Sunil, from that introduction, that I'm going to be doing this muscle testing on your behalf. And in order to do that, I need your permission to do that for you. Okay, no problem. And the way it's going to work is I'm going to go like this and push this finger up against this thumb. And when it holds, when it's strong, this is an indication that there's a match between what you're saying and what you experience in your body.
Mm-hmm.
And when there's a mismatch, it'll be a weak response like that when they're not matching up. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to start by testing from what we call the where to start chart to make sure that our approach is approaching this problem at the right level. And the level at which we work on these online sessions is the level of consciousness or awareness, which is the first level in this what's called where to start chart. And so the issues that we need to work on and deal with and resolve for Sunil are 100% at this consciousness level of the where to start chart. Yes, okay, this is very good. This means we have a really good possibility of getting a breakthrough. There's some other level, the energetic, chemical, physical, or environmental level. There's some other level at which there's some significant contribution possible for solving Sunil's held backness. No. Okay, so we got the right level. This is the foundation of being able to move forward confidently, that we know we have a very good chance of resolving this by approaching it in this way. So if you could state your desire, your intention in like a sentence or two of the new reality that you'd like to step into, what would that be?
It would be limitless. Yeah, to have a limitless reality.
Say again?
Limitless. Meaning that my outcome would be to take constant action. That's what I want. Yeah, take constant action, and to find success effortless.
So if you said I take constant action and have effortless success.
Yes, that's it.
That would capture it, right? Okay. So what I want you to do is to say that as a positive statement, as if it already exists, and then I'm going to test to see if you're congruent with it or not.
I want to take consistent action.
Leave out the want, because you don't want to be just in one.
I'm taking I'm taking consistent action towards effortless success.
How about I have rather than towards? Because we want it to actually be
I'm
as
taking
if it
consistent
already
action and I have success.
effortless success.
I'm taking consistent action and have effortless success.
Yeah, and we're not getting a strong response on this. That means there's something in the way. And we knew that, but this is just a way of getting a kind of pre-check from the experiential wisdom of your body using the intuition testing and muscle testing. Okay, good. So now we're going to determine how many barriers there are to being able to get congruent with that and step into that as a new reality. Okay. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have 3 barriers. So, any idea what the first barrier might be? We'll just start by asking you.
It could be hidden trauma. It could be some kind of hidden pain. When I talk about it, it does bring up something, but I'm not aware of what it brings up.
Okay,
And it could be childhood.
Yeah, some kind of hidden traumas or something, possibly from childhood, or could be any time in your life. Something like that is creating one or more of the barriers. Yeah, 1, 2, 2 of them. 2 of the barriers are coming from traumas. Okay, that's good. And the third one, I think from chatting with you a little bit before we started, I have a little bit of a sense of it, is it sounds like you've kind of developed a little bit of a habit of projecting some possible negative outcomes onto the future.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, you say, oh, I could do that, but probably not going to work, right? Something like that. Okay. So this is the third barrier. Yep. That's the third one. Great. So we know exactly what we have to do. Now, these traumas that you have, fortunately, we don't really need to know what caused them. This is not psychotherapy, thank goodness. Okay. This is actually just training in being able to utilize your previously underutilized capacity to feel and resolve these energies, get in touch with them, feel them in a special way that completes them, and then have them be gone and no longer form the barriers that they are creating. So we have a special procedure for finding the energy without having to dig into the what happened and all the circumstances. Okay? And this is called the locate technique. And the way it works is I'll guide you through the various steps of it, but you start noticing your thoughts and looking off to the side of your thoughts and noticing the background of silence in which the thoughts are occurring. That silence is your awareness. And we don't normally put our attention on our awareness because there's nothing there. It's just quiet, empty. And it has to be empty so we can have all the experiences that we have. It needs to be like a blank screen, right? And it is. So normally we don't pay any attention to it. But in this procedure, the locate technique, we're very interested in getting some sequence of like tastes of the quietness. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have you close your eyes, and you can go ahead and do it, and I'll just explain it as I do it. And if you keep them closed throughout the procedure, that'll be ideal. And I'm just going to describe what you experience with your eyes closed. And that is, you can still hear sounds like the sound of my voice and other sounds. You can feel your body sitting in the chair. And the other primary thing that you will notice is that you have thoughts coming and going in your mind. And what we're going to do is I'd like you to allow yourself to sort of take a break from having any concern about the meaning or content of the thoughts that float by, and just sort of observe them from a little bit of a distance, just kind of like observing the phenomena of having thoughts rather than getting all absorbed in them and being all concerned about the meaning. That's not so difficult. Now, as you do that, what I'd like you to do is to start looking off to the side of the thought. Each thought that comes along look off to the side of the thought, and just notice that there's a background of silence, emptiness, in which the thought is occurring.
Mm.
And of course, it won't take long for another thought to come along and kind of disrupt the quietness by just being there. And that's okay, because we're not trying to get rid of thoughts. But when a new thought comes, you can treat it just like the first one and look off to the side of the second thought. Notice the background of silence again. And each time a new thought comes, look off to the side, notice the quietness. And so you'll get a kind of series of sort of tastes of that quietness. And as you do that, you don't even have to complete the sort of sentence of the thought. Just the moment you recognize that you're having a thought, look off to the side. So the moment you're having a thought, look off to the side, notice the quietness. As you do that again and again, you start to get kind of a sense of the quietness. Now, the reason we're doing that is that this will allow us to have nothing in the way when we tell the body to show us the energy of this first traumatic pain from the past that's holding you back. Then there'll be nothing in the way to you allowing yourself to feel it. You may even have to make a conscious decision that you're going to allow yourself to feel it, because you have a lifetime of avoiding these kinds of things. Mm. So you decide, okay, body, I'm ready to feel it. Show me the energy, this first traumatic energy, specifically that energy that's contributing to this feeling of being held back and not taking a consistent action to achieve effortless success.
Okay.
And pretty much immediately, the body will show you some kind of tight, constricted place inside.
I think it must be around my heart.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I'm testing for you. You got exactly the right place. Yeah. So notice that the sensation that's there, this is the experience of a field of energy that's being held in that part of your body. And in that field of energy, you'll notice that there's a place where the energy feels more concentrated, more strong, more intense than elsewhere. It's typically like right in the center of the field. And if you adjust how close to it you are, bring your awareness closer to it, and you really sort of just be conscious of noticing that, it's pretty easy to feel that there's that sort of central, strongest, most concentrated area of the energy field. You get a sense of that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah. So the instruction is very simple. You simply notice that strongest central part of the energy field. And what happens by just gently noticing that, not trying to push it away, not trying to make it go away, not trying to do anything to it, but just noticing the central strongest part of the energy field, you're actually beginning the process of completing the experience of that sensation that was just too much to process when it happened. It was too painful, couldn't handle it, so you didn't finish it. Mm-hmm. And you've been holding it there in your body all these years. This one's actually from it's from childhood, okay? Now, as you feel it, it will seem more intense than before, because before you were actually trying to avoid feeling it. That's why we had to use this locate technique to kind of take the lid off and get access to it. But as you feel it, after a while, it will gradually start to soften and become a little less intense. And when that happens, let me know. It might take a little while, and that's completely okay.
Now it's changing.
Okay, good. So as it becomes a little softer, it's safe to get closer to it. So you can just bring your awareness a little closer to it. Kind of good analogy is it's sort of like being on Google Maps and clicking in for a closer view. Kind of magnifies. This will make it seem a little stronger again, not because it is stronger, but just because you're closer to it. And again, keep the focus of your attention right into the center of the strongest part of the energy field. And again, after a while, it will start to soften and become less. When it does, get yet closer again. Click in another notch of closer. Get the distance just right where you can really feel that central strongest part of the energy field, but not so close that it's overwhelming.
Okay, I believe so.
Okay. And so if you just keep going like that, you'll reach a point where the last part of the energy just sort of dissolves and dissipates, and kind of like the fog burning off in the morning sun, and then it's gone, and you're back in that same quietness that you were experiencing when you were looking off to the side of the thoughts. When all the energy's gone, you can open your eyes. We'll take a little break from it.
I think it's gone. I think it's gone.
Okay, great. So just to confirm that, this first traumatic energy that Sunil's been completing is now fully completed and is gone. Yep, good job. Okay, not too difficult, huh? Not hard. No. Okay, so what we want to do is go back into the quietness. We're on a roll here. Go back into the quietness and tell the body, okay, I'm ready for the next one. Show me the next one.
Bobby, ready for the next one? Show me. I think that's my root chakra.
Okay.
Must be in the root. Must be the root chakra. Yeah.
Yeah. It's testing. That's right. Okay, let's go for that one. So bring your awareness close, as close as you reasonably can to where you feel the sensation. Notice where the energy is the most intense, the most concentrated. Adjust the distance so you can really feel it, but it doesn't overwhelm you. When you get it just right, it's a little bit intense. You can really feel it, but it's not overwhelming. It's just the perfect distance. And again, just gently notice the central, strongest part of the energy without any attempt to try and make it go away or do anything to it. Just noticing turns out to be exactly what the body is wanting you to do. It's been kind of calling out to you, which is why it creates the sensation. And again, just like you did perfectly this first time, as it softens, each time it softens, immediately click in for closer view. Get the distance just right so you can really feel it. And just allow it to soften in its own natural timing and rhythm. Each time it gets softer, get closer.
Okay, now it's flattening out.
Very good, very good. When all the energy's gone, you can open your eyes. Okay, this one is now complete. Very good, great. You're getting the hang of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there's still more traumatic energies present in Neil's system that are contributing to this being held back feeling that he was eager to overcome. No, you got him. Okay, that's great. Excellent. So the one remaining out technique energy, one, two, just one, is the energy of this projection of the possible negative outcomes onto the future. And it's creating a habit of like you'll get some idea and then now kind of like doubt it or feel, skeptical or whatever. You have this feeling it won't work. And this is definitely a product of the ego, right? Okay, it's a kind of like, oh, I know, as if we do. And it's essentially kind of like a bad habit. But the thing is that it's very difficult to break this kind of habit if you're trapped inside a cloud of energy that is the energy of the emotion of the kind of anxious, worried, feeling that causes a kind of negativity about all kinds of stuff. Making sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is to guide you through the process of identifying and extracting yourself from this cloud of anxious, negative energy that's causing you to doubt yourself, doubt the situation, not take any what you were calling risks. We don't even know that they're risks. It's all these things are all kind of fabricated and made up in your mind. They're not perceptions of something that's really there. They're just kind of illusions. Right? Now, it doesn't do really any good to intellectually understand that. I mean, other than we use it as a kind of foundation for what we're going to do. But the intellectual understanding doesn't solve the problem. Okay? And that's why coaching and therapy and things like that are not particularly effective at solving this kind of problem. Okay? So I'll guide you through this now. The energy of that out techniques is completely different than the in-technique energies. They're not so localized and concentrated inside the body. They're more like a cloud or aura of energy that radiates out from the body and fills up the space around you. Some of them can be quite big. They can vary in size or sort of feel or texture or color or whatever, but we're not concerned about any of that. It's the structure of it that's important, which is this cloud of energy. And the reason it's important is because you're inside the cloud. And so when you're inside of it, you're sort of seeing the world through it. And it's a little bit like having dark glasses on. It just sort of colors everything and makes it seem real. Okay? And so what we're going to do is extract your awareness from being inside that field, trapped inside that field. And the moment we get outside the cloud of energy, the whole picture is going to change. You'll see it in a completely new light. You'll see it from the perspective of the limitlessness of your awareness. You were saying when we were talking earlier, you want that limitlessness in your life.
Yes,
okay?
That's right.
And what we want to do is have an experiential foundation of living from that limitlessness, because then we are limitless. And then our actions aren't limited by all these kind of clouds of energy and fears and stuff like that that we, for whatever reason, I mean, we grew up in a society where everybody makes projections of possible negative outcomes on the future, and we kind of all just learn it by osmosis, just by being around it. Okay, so it's understandable. And it's also understandable because of the traumatic experiences from the past, that we don't want something like that to happen again. Yeah. So it's an understandable phenomena, but it's not a useful phenomena. This is a big part of what's holding you back, keeping you from that desire to have the consistent action. Right? Okay, so I'll guide you through it now, and then we'll see how we do afterwards. So if you go ahead and close your eyes again, and we'll use the locate technique again. Actually, you may be able to get access to the field of energy by simply thinking about something and thinking about doing something and noticing that kind of habitual thought coming up of, oh, that's not going to work.
Mm. Yeah, doing a business or even working for somebody.
Yeah.
Any doing sales, being a top performer in sales, and also self-employed.
Yeah.
There's always this heavy doubt. I always doubt myself heavily.
That's exactly the one we're looking for. Now, when you think about that self-doubt like that, can you feel this sort of cloud of energy all around you?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the instruction is very simple. Now that you can feel it, that's the first step. Let's just simply go see how big it is.
Mm-hmm.
The way to do that is very simple. You just let your awareness move out into the space around you further and further. And you just keep going sort of through this cloud of energy. And what we're looking for is the place where the energy fades off into the surrounding quietness. Take a few moments to allow yourself to notice your thoughts. Look off to the side of the thoughts. Notice the background of quietness that's there. And each time a new thought comes, notice the quietness again. And then go ahead and think about this whole topic of feeling self-doubt, this habit of kind of projecting a possible negative outcome onto the future.
Yeah, it makes me feel, when you do something before you do it and then you give up. That's what it is. I give up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like resignation. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
It's exactly the right word. It's the feeling of like it's just not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that resignation energy has this kind of cloud-like structure to it. It sort of surrounds and engulfs you, has a probably almost kind of oppressive feeling.
Mm.
You get a sense of it?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty familiar, actually. You've had it for a long time.
I always felt resigned inside.
Yeah, it's been there probably most of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just go see how big it is. Let your awareness move out through the space around you further and further. Could be rather substantial size or not, whatever, it doesn't matter. You just keep going until we find the place where the energy sort of fades off into the surrounding quietness. When you get a sense of that surrounding quietness, or feel like you arrived there, then let me know.
I believe so. I believe so.
You've got it? Yeah, you've got it. Okay. So now go a little bit deeper into the quietness, a little bit further away from the edge of the energy field. This will allow the distinction between the energy and the quietness to become even more clear. And you do that by just noticing the area of the quietness that's a little further away. Get a sense of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So now go much, much deeper into the quietness, quite far away from the energy field. And allow yourself to notice how you could just keep going forever. It's just vast and limitless. This, by the way, is the source of that limitlessness that you want in your life. This is the source of all your creative, intuitive ideas. This is where your access your true knowing of things. You could call this your inner greatness. It's kind of limitless intelligence, creativity, and power. Unmanifest, so that means it can manifest into anything. Now, as you look back at the cloud of energy that you were inside of just moments ago, what's happening to it now?
It's dissolving.
Excellent. This is just what we want. Now, notice that it feels quite different to be outside the cloud of energy than trapped inside of it. When you're inside of it, you're seeing the world through the limitations that that cloud of energy produces. Kind of colors everything. But now that you're outside of it, you can see things much more clearly, including you can see that you've been kind of in the habit of running a story of that, this resignation story. Oh, it's not going to work. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Now notice that there's nobody making you run that story. You've been kind of running it as like just as a kind of bad habit.
Mm-hmm.
Inadvertently, but nonetheless. Now, in order for the energy to get completely gone and not come back, what we want to do is we want to really question whether allowing this story to continue to show up in your awareness is in your best interest or not. And now that you're outside the cloud of energy, you may feel a sense of choice or empowerment about whether you let the story continue to run or not. So we're gonna just challenge the story and see if it's really in your best interest to keep it. Is running this resignation, self-doubt story helping you have the life that you want?
No, it's not.
Absolutely not, right? No. So is it a good use of your life energy to allow it to continue to be there?
No.
No. And do you have a sense of choice about whether you continue to allow it to be there or not?
I do.
Yeah. All it takes at this point is simply deciding not to feed energy into this particular thought ever again. And the moment you decide that, any remaining energy and the story will collapse back into the nothingness out of which you inadvertently created them in the first place. And when the energy really feels like it's all gone, then you can open your eyes.
Yeah, I believe it's gone.
Let's just check it out. This out-technique energy of the resignation and self-doubt and so on is completely gone. Yes. Okay. So there's some additional in or out-technique energies that are still in Sunil that we need to go find and root out and resolve that are blocking him from fulfilling his intention. No, that's cool. That wasn't very hard.
Wow.
The reason it's easy here, Sunil, is because I'm being very, very precise in my intention, okay? Which is that we're just after those energies that have been blocking you in this particular way. Now, this doesn't resolve every energy, every emotional trauma and out-technique energy in your life. You've got plenty of them, okay? So it'll be useful for you to learn to get good at this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one was one really excellent resource you can have access to. It's completely free, and you may know about it already. I created an app. It's called Awaken Your Inner Greatness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got the audio instructions for the techniques in it, and you can close your eyes and just swipe on anywhere on the surface of the screen to the right, and it'll feed you the next instruction. And so you can guide yourself through this process at your own pace, which is actually almost better than somebody coaching you,
Mm-hmm.
because you can just know when you're ready for the next instruction. So I'd suggest that you download that and have it as a resource. And whenever you need it, you have some other kind of emotional issue that's troubling you, then you can utilize the app, and you don't have, that way you don't have to remember what you're supposed to do, because you just can access the guidance just like that. It also has a page in it for joining the free membership website that we have. And in the website, there's also a whole bunch of other great free information of how to use the app for depression, anxiety, heartbreak, resentment, stress, grief, a whole range of things. Okay? And it includes 2 sections, one on optimizing your intuition and one on being able to make better decisions, okay? Which is very closely related to what we've done here today. And these are 2 parts to a chapter that I wrote in this last year. I co-authored a book with Jack Canfield, the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, and one of the probably best-selling authors in history. Anyway, I had the opportunity to contribute a chapter, and the book was a bestseller, so now I'm a best-selling author.
That's awesome.
Which is great. I got an award for that last September in Hollywood. It was wonderful.
Oh, that's awesome.
In any case, Jack and I go back a ways. I've known him for a long time. I actually did a session with him much earlier. I didn't have all the same skill and resources I have now, but I did a session for him back when his first book had been published but was not yet a bestseller. His intention for his session was he wanted to have a positive impact on the lives of millions of people. And so we did a session to clear out some of his barriers. And then that happened.
That's awesome.
So that was pretty cool. So I have a kind of long-term connection with Jack. And in any case, in my chapter, which is chapter 4 in the book is called Mastering the Art of Success. And in chapter 4, which is my chapter, I go into these 2 areas of optimizing intuition and removing barriers to making better decisions. And so on the website, I have a section in each of those for using the app to guide yourself through the procedures for doing that. So you may find this to be an ongoing kind of support to continue to sort of refine and improve. Because what you want to do is you want to develop as much emotional competence as possible. Because it's the lack of the ability to access and resolve these very kinds of energies we did today that is what gets in people's way. And there are going to be other things you're going to want to do and accomplish in your life. And so to become skilled at this would be really, really valuable for you. And there may be some other resources. I can send you an email with some links to some other pages and stuff things you can take a look at. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. There's something I've developed recently called the Freedom Practice, which is it's a wonderful breakthrough for the development of this work. And I'm seeing people's pace of progress in being able to live from that limitlessness and really embody that in their life. I'm seeing that accelerated like 10 times what it used to be with just doing our older normal protocols. So I'll send you some information about that. You can read about that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Terrific. So now the process is going to be allowing yourself to kind of live into a new way of being, right? So if those old kinds of resignation, self-doubt thoughts come up, actually, let's just check it out. Is there something, some kind of intuitive or creative idea or something you've been thinking you might like to try that's been being sort of sabotaged by these resignation thoughts?
Yeah. Probably just even being a top performer, or even going into business for myself. I used to do hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
So I did that for a long time, and so I have a skill set there of I have this block when it comes to I've had it all my life when it comes to learning. I have a learning block.
Mm.
And so it's required that I use intuition all the time.
Okay.
It could, yeah, it's just putting myself out there and as a business, having a healing business or a hypnotherapy business, and just knowing that I can do it. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, if you liked doing the hypnotherapy and helping people, you might want to consider learning to do this kind of work.
Yeah, I'm familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, because my observation is that it's actually, I haven't seen any modality, hypnotherapy, any kind of coaching or therapy of any kind, that even comes close to the kind of breakthroughs we can get with this.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, give that some thought. It'd be great to have you. I've got this mission of removing the pain of the world. You may have seen that
Right.
in my stuff. It's a big mission, and I'm going to need a lot of help.
Yeah, no problem. Yes.
Yeah, well, we can explore that. I have a number of people in the UK. I've given trainings in the UK in the past.
Yeah.
I gave several of them, and I've got quite a few people there who I've trained who are actually, some of them are making a living doing this. Some of them are very good at it.
Yeah.
And we're going to get things livened up again in the UK. I've been in China for most of the past 3.5 years, setting up a network of inner greatness centers here where we're using these techniques and some other technologies. But yeah, I'm kind of sensing that the UK is going to be coming on back online soon, and yeah, maybe we'll meet in person not too long. That'd be great.
That'd be awesome, Tom.
Terrific. Well, delightful to meet you.
You too.
And if what I'd like to do is to check in with you in maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And just kind of see how it's going and see if this has made a difference in your ability to begin to start taking a little bit more consistent action, not feeling so held back.
Okay. All right. Sounds
Okay.
Good.
Great. We'll organize that through email or Facebook or something. Yeah.
All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Tom.
Very good.
You.
You're very welcome. Delightful to meet you. Thank you so
too.
much for
Thanks,
your
Tom.
participation. We'll be in touch.
Appreciate you. Okay. Thank you.
Great. You're welcome. Bye-bye.